Hi guys, I'm here with another story for you from the good old days. Around the time, right at the end of World War II, this story comes, and it's from Doris Costomiris. And here's just a picture drawing. You can see kind of what their apartment looked like on the roof. So that's lipstick or just where my mouth's getting sore on it. I read this once and was down to the last paragraph and the video clicked off. So I gotta start all over again. And it's pretty long. So, let's get started. The end of World War II, there was no available apartments in New York City. George was just back from the service. We had been married before the war. George's father and Uncle Hercules lived together in a 5-room apartment. We couldn't have afforded an apartment even if we could have found one. We rented a room from Pop for $15 a month. A 5th-floor walk-up, it had a long hallway and 2 small bedrooms, living room, dining room, kitchen, and bath. The bedrooms were 9 feet by 10. The largest room was 11 by 12. All the apartments in this building were the same size. We were on the top floor, a tar roof. The heat beat down all day long, all summer. It would start to cool off early of the morning when it was time to get up. Few had electric fans. In the kitchen was a wash tub with built-in washboard. Either I'd do it by hand or I could take my wash down the 5 flights across the street, down into a basement, and use the coin wringer machine. We had an alley exposure looking into other people's windows across the way. We'd hang our clothes out, had a pulley line from one corner out across the court. I waited for a nice day to go up on the roof and hang out blankets and sheets and towels. Living on the top floor made it easy to carry a basket of wash up. Those living on the lower floors didn't want to go to all that trouble. Sometimes when they did, they'd get up there and the lines would already be full. In the bedroom, we had a rack to hang clothes on, hang them all up, then pull it up to the ceiling. You had to be careful how you hung them, long pieces out of the way. This worked fine in the winter. As the children came along, me pregnant, leading another, I just couldn't handle carrying those big grocery bundles up 5 flights. I tried going down into the basement and putting them on the dumb waiter, boxes, bags, and all, then pulling it up. That lasted one time. After that, I called in my orders. Pop walked to the store just for something to do, and George picked up on his way home. We had milk delivery. Every evening our buzzer rang, and we'd put our garbage on the dumb waiter. The superintendent took it out. In the winter, the heat went off at 11 at night, and it came back on at 6 the next morning. Coal furnace seems all day long. The heat never came all the way to the pipes upstairs, and we'd have to bang on them for more. Uncle Hercules left and went up to live with relatives at Stanford. Then my sick mother, age 67, moved in and was with us a year and a half before she died. She lied about her age so much no one could ever be sure just how old she was. So it took a lot of footwork with a baby in my arms and leading one to establish the fact she was 65 and eligible for Social Security. It happened that the minister where she was baptized was still alive, and he established her correct age. I'd taken Mother back and forth to the hospital for her treatment, and the girls, ages 2 and 4, they'd sit and color their books quietly while we waited in the clinic. 4 adults and now 3 children, we moved everything around from room to room as we needed a space for those 7 years. We made the dining room into a bedroom. Mother slept on the couch in the living room. She had to visit Pop She had to wait while Pop heard the late news before she could go to bed. I'd take the babies with me when I went out. I'd bundle them up, take them down 5 flights, then pull the carriage up from the basement. Luckily, I had a sister-in-law who lived on the first floor. I could lay the little ones on her couch, and she'd watch them while I went for the carriage. Oh, how I can remember going back up all those 5 flights. The little ones would get so tired before we got to the top. I'd have to stand and wait, coax. Come on, just one more. Ha ha ha. Then finally I'd pick one up and hang her under my arm and walk one up with the other arm full of bags and the other 2 children trailing along behind. George worked 6 days a week as a sewing machine salesman. He went to work early, long before the children were up, and he came in at 10 at night, long after they were in bed. Sundays, he'd be in the church choir. On Sunday afternoon, through the warm months, he went fishing. One hot day, George's brother came rushing up the steps, all out of breath. He charged into the kitchen. From down on the street, he'd seen Valerie and Lynn leaning way out the kitchen window, looking down to see what they could see at the foot of the outside steps. We usually opened the windows down from the top, with some guardrails on, but even then you'd see children sitting in the windows with their feet through the rails. I don't even remember a child falling from a window. We never had screens. Some did, but maybe flies didn't go up that far. We didn't have mosquitoes. Summer nights, we'd take the babies to the roof and try to get a breath of air. Those poor babies. Funny part about it, we all lived crowded up that way. It was the way of life for all the apartment people. There were 6 steps coming up into the building, then a little landing. People coming or going would have to walk in between those folks sitting on the steps. I never went down and sat on the sidewalk of an evening like some women. During the day, if I took the children out to the park or shopping, on the way back I could stop and talk to the ladies while they watched their youngsters jump rope. Every morning when George went to work, he'd take the dog for a walk. I'd leave the door open, then he'd bring him back to the outside steps. I'd whistle and he'd come up. At night, George would whistle from down there. The dog would go running to meet him, and they'd take a walk. Everyone enjoyed the dog. When Pop retired and was home full time, we had our 3rd child. Pop got so upset when Eddie had hiccups. He'd complain, "It's not right that a child gets hiccups. Something's wrong." It made me nervous because Pop got nervous. Up until that time, I never thought about hiccups. Babies just got them. But really, we all got along well together. Both grandparents loved the babies. Pop gladly stayed with the kids if I had to go out. He went to the park for a walk every day. When the children were old enough to walk well, like 3, he took the older ones with him. Oh, what a help to me. And they looked forward to it. The only time Pop got upset with them was if they got noisy while he was listening to the radio news. It was after we had our 2nd child. We took over renting the apartment, and Pop then paid us for his room. We had the first TV in the building. When the kids' shows came on, all the children in our building, and on the next one to ours, were up watching the rich Costomiris TV. All those years, we just barely managed financially. For clothes, we depended upon Christmas and birthday gifts, and there were the hand-me-downs. I used to be thin enough to wear my sister-in-law's cast-offs. I kept saying, "I'm not going to have another child until I get off this 5th floor." 2 months before Bobby, our 4th and last, was born, we moved to a house. Our dreams of having a lot of living space, a yard with green grass and tall trees, had come true. We look back and have such dear memories of that apartment, home, and the neighborhood. It's a disgrace driving through now. I wouldn't feel safe even driving alone there. There isn't an inch of space on the building that doesn't have graffiti on it. Oh, what a shame. And that was her story. Homemaking in New York City by Doris Costomiris. I hope you guys enjoyed Doris' story. And hopefully, God willing, I'll see you guys again with another story soon. Bye guys. God bless.